Hi dear students, welcome back to computer science class. We have gone through one of the most important, one of the core topics in data file handling, that is read operation in our previous session. And we have worked with three built-in methods or built-in functions like read, read lines and read line. Right? Read function works in two different formats. Read used to read complete the entire content, and read of size having some specific size, reads data of some specific size or the given size. Then read line to read one line at a time, and read lines used to read multiple lines. And the same way here we have our next operation, that is write. It is another one of the core operations, right? One of the important operations along with read and append. Our second operation is write. So today's topic is all about write data to a file. Okay, so we are making use of two functions, write and write lines, and in addition to these two topics we have one more topic, that is using with statement. So let's move on to the topic. Then how can you write data to a file? You know the basic operation read, right? We have learned a read function, that is we must have an existing data, existing file. So using that file we are reading, or using the content in the file we are reading the file, right? So data should be there, already there in the file for reading purpose. But for writing we can have data or we do not have data, right? Yes, if there is data existing in the file, what actually happens is the existing data will be removed or deleted and new data will be added afresh. If there is no such file existing, what happens is it creates a new file, right? You got the logic, right? Yes. So if there is data and file, or file and data existing, the existing content will be deleted and the new data will be added afresh. And if we do not have any file existing, what happens is the write method itself create a new file and writes the data, right? Yes. So to write character data we have two functions, write and it takes string as parameter, and write lines sequence of lines. Yes, okay. So the first function is write. Actually write function is used to write characters or string data. Okay, it takes a string as parameter and writes it into the file, or in the file. Storing data with the end of file, we need /n. You know what /n is? /n marks end of a line. Here in Python or in data file handling, we do not have any implicit mechanism. That means we do not have any default mechanism or automatic mechanism that marks the end of a line. That means we have to give it explicitly. That is what /n is. Okay, so /n should be added by the user to store numeric data. We have to convert it to string, because write function is designed to write data of what type? String type. And if you want to write numeric data or numbers or integer, it has to be converted to string data or character data, right? Yes, hope you understood the basics, right? Write function is used to write data to a file, /n should be added. Okay, yes. Then here is the syntax, file object dot write string. Of course every method needs the file object or the file handle or the file variable, right? Yes. Then calling the function write, passing string. Let's have an example. F equal to open test2.txt comma w. F dot write, we have three write functions, and we have another function print. Finally we are closing it. Okay, so first F equal to open test2.txt comma w. We are opening the file test2.txt in which access mode? W. That means we are opening the file test2.txt for writing, and we are associating with a variable f. Okay, then f dot write, we are writing /n. So what happens in the first f dot write we are writing? What exactly happens is we are writing will be written in the file test2.txt as the first line. Okay, because you can see /n, it breaks the line. Then we have second line, f dot write data2. That means data2 is written as a second line in the file test2.txt. Again we have /n. Next line, f dot write text file /n. That means text file will be written as the third line because we have /n here. Then print data written successfully, and it will not be written in the file, right? It will be just for the display. That means you will get the data written successfully in the output page. That's it. Okay, finally we are closing it. F dot close. So what happens with this the block of code is we are opening the file test2.txt for writing, and we are writing will be written as the first line, data2 as the second line, and text file as the third line, because we are slashing. Okay, so how can you read it? Just go to a Python file and you can find test2.txt, open it, you can see 3 lines. You can see 3 lines data or content. Okay, yes. So this is how we can perform write function, or we can work with write function. Okay, yes. Now we are heading to writing numeric data. This is okay. Here in the first example, we are writing what string data, right? Character data, and we are going to write numeric data. Of course, we know write function is designed in such a way to store character data or string data. Okay, yeah. So numeric data. We are going to write numeric data. First, you have to open the file. F equal to open new test.txt w. We are opening the file new test for what? W, writing purpose, right? Yes. Then x equal to 100. We have a numeric variable that stores a numeric value 100, integer value 100. Then f dot write hello world /n. What is that f dot write hello world? It's like this, right? Writing character data. So you can write character data directly or string data directly. Then hello world /n. So hello world will be written in the file as a first line, and you have /n. That's why it's the first line. Then f dot write str of x. What is str of x? We have learned in +1. We have some built-in data type conversion functions, right? Int of str or float of, yes, str is one of the functions. It's used to convert data to string type, data to character type or string type. Okay, yes. So here our x is integer data, numeric data, that will be converted to string data. So 100 will no longer be numeric data or an integer data, it will be a string data. Okay, yeah. Then we are closing it. So what happens is when you open the file new test.txt, you can see hello world in the first line and 100 in the second line, but 100 is a string data. Hope you understood, right? Yes. So this way we can work with write function. So write is a function used to write data to a file. The content, the complete content, you can say the complete content /n should be added if you want to make it in separate lines. Otherwise it display data in single line or as a single line. Okay, yes. So if you want to convert to store numeric data, it should be converted to string data using str function. Okay, let's move on to the second function, write lines. Write lines is used to write lines, or we can say it is mainly used to write sequence data types. Okay, data types like list, tuple, some other data types cannot be written in the file using write function. For writing these sequential data types or sequence data types, we have to make use of write lines function. Okay, yeah. So string at a time we can use write function. We have used it for writing string at a time. To write sequence data types like list, tuple, string, we have to use write lines function. Okay, here is the syntax: file object dot write lines. You know, every time if you want to make use of any built-in function, you have to connect it, or you have to associate the file handle with the function, right? Yes. So write lines. Then we have an example here. Let's look at the example. F equal to open test4.txt comma w. Here we are opening the file test4.txt. That may be a file which is already existing or no such file exists, right? Yes. These are the two options with that test4.txt. Then anyway, okay, we are opening it for writing. Then list equal to CS, physics, maths. What is this list? It's a list because you can see square brackets, right? Yes. So it's a list having 3 elements or 3 string elements. Okay. First one is CS. Here you can see /n. Then physics /n, maths. No need of /n to maths, right? That's last one. So CS, physics, maths. And why we have used /n? What is the logic? Of course, you want to make it in different lines or separate lines, right? CS will have to be seen in the first line, then physics should be in the second line, and maths in the last line. Yes, that's the purpose. Then f dot write lines list. Of course, write lines is a function that can take something as parameter. We are passing list as a parameter. So what happens is, it will be written onto the file. Okay, list will be written onto the file. We'll be seeing it. Print list written successfully. That will be printed on the output screen, right? In the output screen. Then f dot close. And how can you see the content? If you want to see the content of the file, you have to open it anyway, right? Just we have opened the file here, test2.exe for seeing this, then new test for seeing numeric data and a string as well, okay? Yes, and finally, okay, in this example, test4.exe should be opened. You can see the file, you can see the notepad file there in Python where it is stored, okay, where it is saved in the secondary medium. So just go to the place, go to the location, you just open it, test1.exe, you can see it. It's very simple. CS will be written as a first line, physics will be written as a second line, and maths will be written as a third line. Okay, yeah, because we have added station. Once again, we don't have any, or Python does not have any default mechanism for storing or for adding new line. Okay, that means no implicit mechanism. We have to do it explicitly. That's a very logic. Read and write cursor at the beginning. Of course, we know that in real time also, when you start reading, we will be from the beginning, right? We will do the operation from the very beginning. And if you write something, you will be writing at the top of, from the top of, right? So it's a commonsensical knowledge. Yeah. So that's it. Read and write cursor will be, that is the file pointer will be at the beginning, in the beginning, or at the beginning, whatever it is. Okay. Yeah. So this is about write lines function. Mainly it's used to write sequence data types. Okay. Yes. We have seen an example here. Yes. Now let's move on to the third one. Not the third one. It's not a what operation. It's not an operation related to write function, but with statement. You know, so far in every program we have used a function close at the end of or after performing all the operations. Right? After having all the operations completed, we have used f.close. You can see f.close, f.close, f.close. In every program we have seen it. Right? It is a standard method, of course. Right? Even though we haven't closed it using close function, it will be closed automatically, but it is a standard method. And after applying close function, what actually happens is all the resources allocated to the file or to f, the variable or the handle, whatever it is, will be deallocated or will be released or will be freed up. And what is the advantage of freeing up or releasing or deallocating the memory allocated to one process? That means that memory can be used by some other processes, right? Some other process. That's a very logic, okay? So the memory used by one process should be released or deallocated, or to a file, whatever it is, okay? Yeah, it should be freed up or it should be deallocated, so that other processes or other operations can use, or files can use the memory, okay? Yes. So, okay, that means we have been using close function, but we have an alternative mechanism. That means without using close function, it will be closed automatically. Not like the normal method, okay? Not like the normal method of closing, but we are adding something, we are using something other than close function. That is with statement, okay? Using with statement, we are doing three main things. One is it is an alternative to what? Close function. Then it groups related statements together, okay? It groups related statements or related statements related to an operation together. And the third is all the resources are deallocated. Of course, if it is an alternative to close function, all the resources will be deallocated. So these are the three main points connected to what? With statement, okay? Alternative to close function, all the memory locations are freed up or deallocated. Then what? It groups, okay, related operation statements in a block. Yes. Let's see the syntax. With open function as file object. Of course, file object is needed in every operation, okay? It should be connected to or associated with the file or to the function or whatever it is, right? Yes. So with open function as file object. And let's see an example. It will be okay, very understandable to you. Then with open test.txt, w as f. You can see colon at the end of, right? Yes. So with is a keyword, open function. We are opening test.txt. In which mode? Write mode, okay? W mode. As f. F is the file object, file handle. And using the file handling, we are writing f.write python /n, f.write ec /n, f.write language /n. So what actually happens is it opens a file test.txt in write mode. So with these three write statements or write functions, Python will be written onto the file or in the file as a first line, is and ec in the second line, and language in the third line. Hope you understood, right? Yes. Then we have print is file closed, f.closed. What will be the result? False, right? Still we are in the block. We haven't moved out of the block. That means is file closed. It shows true, sorry, false. right? It shows false because we are still in the block. So it is false. But second print, where can you see it? We have moved out of the block of width. So here second is file closed, f dot closed. What will be the result? None. That means it's out, right? We have moved out of the block and the file is closed. That means that's what none is. Okay, yeah. So hope you understood, right? The first f dot closed is false because we are still in the block. The file is not yet closed. But the second we have added the print function outside the block. That means we have moved out of the block. The file is closed. Okay, that's why it's none. Hope you understood it, right? Yes. So these are the topics. Okay, before ending, let's look at the topics again. Writing to file, it's one of the main operations along with read and append. Then to write character data, we have a write function which takes a string and write lines, sequence of lines. Then write function, takes a string as parameter, slash n should be added by the user explicitly. Numeric data should be converted to string. Then file object dot write string, that's a syntax. Then we have seen one example, test2.txt is opened in write mode. Okay. Then we are writing 3 lines. We are writing in the first line, data in second line, text file in third line. So data return successfully will be printed on the output screen. Then f dot close, we are closing it. And if you want to see the content, you have to open the file. Okay. Yes. You know the location, right? Yes. It should be saved where in the master folder, right? In the file, in the folder where Python is installed. Yes. You can go and see it. Okay. Then numeric data. Okay. New test.txt in write mode. X is 100. That's the numeric data. Hello world is a character data we are writing first in the first line. Then str of x should be converted to string type. Finally closing it. Okay. Yeah. Then write lines. To write sequence data types like list, tuple, dictionary. Then a file dot close file of object dot write lines. Then we have example. We are opening test4.txt and we are creating a list. CS in the first lines, physics, maths. Okay. These are the 3 then elements. Then write lines. We are passing list. Then okay, successfully. Okay, finally we close it. And after opening, you can see CS in the first line, physics in the second line, and what maths in the third line. Okay. And the last topic is with statement, alternative to clause function. Then group file operations. Okay, as a block together. Then all the resources are deallocated. With open function is file object. That's syntax. And using with open function we are opening test.txt for writing, and file object is f. And using that, we are writing Python. The first line is an easy in the second line, language the third line. Then we are applying closed. We are checking whether the file is closed or not. And the first clause function returns false because we are still in the block. And second, none. Okay, that means it's closed. So it's a very, very important topic, as far as your board examination or practical is concerned. It's very, very important, right? Yes. So just go through all these topics. Have thorough practice. Okay, you have to practice it anyway. As I'm always telling you, practice makes you a skilled programmer, of course, right? Yes, it's not a theory stuff, it's a practical stuff. So just go through all these topics again and again and again. We'll be doing appending in the coming class. Okay, so this is all for the time being. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. See you in the next video. Take care.